of November 2024. It seems strange yesterday and today. I think with having Thursday as a holiday, and it really was, the only thing I did was go to the gym. I don't think of any notes, and of course to my reading. It's kind of thrown me for a loop, and I thought yesterday felt like a Saturday and today feels like a Sunday, and it's just kind of wild. I just came back from the gym, and I was just thinking all the shops would be closed early, and I thought, no, it's Saturday. It's not Sunday. It's Saturday. So it kind of threw me for a loop. But anyway, bottom line is this is the last reading for the month of November 2024. It's the last reading from Reverend Jim, at least potentially for another year, or who knows how long. So here we go. Let's go. I have to leave to go for our Thanksgiving dinner shortly, because I mentioned the other day, excuse me, my daughter-in-law was working today, on Thursday, so everything got put back 2 days. So here we go. So without further ado, here is the final reading for November 2024, and it's called Enough But Not an Excess. Enough But Not an Excess. First quote is from Bill Watterson, and I don't know who he means by this. The nearest I can get is Bill Watterson, Watterson, who was the creator of the Calvin and Hobbes series, which was something I liked, and I've got a bunch of Calvin and Hobbes books, which I really love. Anyway, whoever this Bill Watterson is, this is what he said. And I've got it in the back of my mind somewhere. I think he might have been a Science of Mind minister, but I'm not sure. Creating a life that reflects your values and satisfies your soul is a rare achievement. In a culture that relentlessly promotes avarice and excess as the good life, a person happy doing their own work is usually considered an eccentric, if not a subversive. Bill Watterson. Ernest Holmes in This Thing Called You. There is a stream of life that's running into every organ and function in your being. This stream is always there. It never stops for a second. If it did, the universe would cease to exist. Inexhaustible energy exists at the very center of your being. Therefore, learn to live without effort. Activity is the joy of life flowing through you. And Holmes stressed the fact that you don't do all this with brute mental force. No, you do it with as much ease as you can. So when you're putting your beliefs together, your thoughts and your feelings, you do it with as much ease as you can. You look forward to what it is that you are bringing about. Anyway, back to Reverend Jim. He says, what is it to create a satisfying and a fulfilling life? Does it demand fame and fortune, luxury items, and first-class travel? While elements of our consumerist culture may reinforce these messages, using marketing scientifically designed to trigger fear and desire, it just isn't so. He says, as I noted throughout these guides, abundance is having enough, but not an excess. Indulgences are nice, but aren't required for fulfillment. This begins with having a healthy self-concept, which means that you know you are enough and do not require aggrandizements so that others see you as such. Excess is sought by the insecure, those living under the false assumption that they can be enough only with outside help or adornments. The next statement I'm not sure about, but anyway, here it is. Poverty is an excess of insufficiency. I'm not sure about that. We ought to have enough to live decently and well. Agreed. As Emma Curtis Hopkins wrote, there is good for me and I ought to have it, quote unquote. This good is yours through the natural expression of a healthy consciousness of connection to spirit and self-love. Having enough means living in balance. We cannot be fulfilled if our life is not in balance. Spend a bit of time considering what is enough. Yes, in terms of things like quality of your relationships, health, joy, and creative self-expression. Quite a bit to think about here. As I said, I'm not too sure about poverty being an excessive insufficiency. I mean, the way I look at poverty is it's a lack of the means necessary to have a decent life. That's what poverty means to me. But it's different throughout the world. You know, poverty in a country that itself is poor in resources, etc., is different than poverty in the USA or any developed country. It just is different. So I define poverty as not having enough to have a life that allows you to have enough of what you need, enough food, enough friendship, enough clothing, enough housing, and enough self-love. You know, to me, the basis for all this, everything he's been talking about this month and everything we talk about in these daily guides boils down to this. It boils down to love. And for the ones of you who know the Christian scriptures, it used to be called the New Testament, now it's called the Christian scriptures, you know that Jesus said that the first rule was to love God and love your neighbor as yourself. And that it's in a way that's kind of backwards, because you cannot love anything else until you love yourself. So I personally believe that the basis for everything is having a very healthy self-image, which is in effect self-love. And then from that you build your love of everything else. When Jesus says love of God, you can say love of life, the divine, the all, however you want to call it, and love of your neighbor. But these readings the past 30 days have caused me to think. It's caused me to not always agree with him, like I don't agree with the definition of poverty, but that's individual. Every single one of us sees the world through a different lens. Why? Because we've had different experiences growing up, and we've had different experiences of what poverty means. So, as I said, I think poverty goes in many shades. In terms of material things, it means not having enough to have a decent life, enough, as I said, food, clothing, shelter, friendships, etc. But it's also applies to ourselves. If we have a poverty of self-love, then our self-image is too low and we need to build it up. But above all else, this is what I recommend. My recommendation to me and to you and to everybody else is, let's start by being grateful for what we have right now. And if we can be grateful for what we have right now, then I guarantee you that there is more good coming to us. It's just the way the law works. Gratitude is in itself a form of love, and gratitude brings about lots and lots of good things. That's my final message for today before I go get washed up, get changed, and zip off to a meal which has been mainly made by other people, and we'll have a lot of people there, and hopefully will be enjoyable, but we shall see. The affirmations, 2 of them. I'm enough and I have enough to spare and to share. I am enough and I have enough to spare and to share. I live a fulfilling life and look forward to the future with high expectations and curiosity. I don't think anybody should argue with that. I live a fulfilling life and look forward to the future with high expectations and curiosity. So, what do you think about this reading? What do you think about this month's readings, which are centered around the theme. The Science of Mind magazine for this month was centered around abundance. I promise you I would read, I'm almost like Calvin and Hobbes. I promise you I'd read Murphy the Dog Whisperer, and I will. It just won't be today. It's probably going to be tomorrow when I've got a bit more time. I mean, I just love that book. I think it's kind of cool. And also, I love the readings when they come in every other month in the Science of Mind magazine. So until next time, please take care of yourselves. Remember, you cannot take care of anybody else properly unless you take care of yourself first. That is not selfish. That is the way the world works. That's the way the universe works. You need to take care of yourself first. Yep. Remember the often overused example of the oxygen mask on the plane, but it's true. You cannot help somebody else if there's a lack of oxygen on the plane. If you don't put your own oxygen mask on first and then help other people, because you will collapse, and you're not good to anybody when you do that, whether it's a lack of oxygen or a lack of energy or whatever. So please look after yourselves. And until next time, namaste.